Laura from Laura and Bookland, and it is February 1st, which means it is time for my January wrap-up and February TBR. I didn't do too incredibly great this month, but, you know, I can't really complain. I did read 9 books. If you hear banging or yelling, it's because my kids are actually in the room right behind us here. So I apologize for that ahead of time. But the first book I read in the month of January actually finished, and that was Revolution 19 by Greg Rosenblum. This is the first book in the Revolution 19, what I believe is a trilogy, and it is pretty much the robot apocalypse and what happens after the robots have taken over. It follows Cass, her brothers Kevin and Nick, and after their camp is raided by robots, they have to go into the city and save their parents. And it is actually pretty good. I'm really quite surprised I haven't heard more people talking about this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Fugitive X by Greg Rosenblum, which is the second book in the Revolution 19 trilogy. And this continues on directly after the first one has ended, and it is also really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books I read were from the library, and they were both graphic novels. The first one is Sidekicks by Dan Satant. This follows around a group of animals that are the pets of the town superhero, and they really want to try out to be the superhero's new sidekick. But they can't let him know that because he doesn't want another pet superhero sidekick or whatever. And it was actually a really cute book. It's more like lower middle grade, but I really enjoyed it and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The other book I also got from the library was also a graphic novel, and it was Smile by Raina Telgemeier, and this tells this true story of Raina's childhood between like 6th and high school. And it was really cute, and it tells all the story about how she falls and breaks her 2 front teeth, and she has to go through all this dental work and her progress with that. And then it also shows, you know, like normal high school teenage girl stuff, boys and friend problems, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was on my Kindle, and that was Psycho Inside Me by Bonnie Paulson. I was on the blog tour for this. It tells the story of about a 13-year-old girl who, at the very beginning of the story, is almost raped, and she ends up killing the guy and then covering it up. And then from that point on, she ends up becoming obsessed with finding and killing pedophiles and pretty much using herself as bait. And it was a pretty good book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book was Indigo Insight by Jacinda Buckman. I was also on the blog tour for this book, and it falls around brothers or twins, and they have special abilities, like they can communicate with each other through their minds, and one of them can move things with their mind. And when one brother gets kidnapped by this like government agency and ends up telling a list of names to these people about other people that have these special abilities too, and it's the other brother's job to go and find these people before this government agency does. And it was actually pretty good. I would definitely be interested in reading the next book in the series, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book on my list of reading was probably one of my favorite books of the month, and that was Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman. This is a very short middle grade book. It's very reminiscent of like Roald Dahl, if you were like Roald Dahl. And it's about this man who goes out to get milk for his kids' breakfast and just ends up going on this crazy adventure, and it was fantastic. I loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book was The First True Lie by Marina Mander. This is a very short book. It's about 150 pages about a little boy and his mother who live alone, and one day his mother does not wake up, and the little boy refuses to tell anybody about it because he is scared to become an orphan. And I wasn't the biggest fan of this book. It really took me quite a while to get through it. As far as I know, the little boy is like 6 years old, and I just don't think that it sounded like a 6-year-old's point of view, like some of his thoughts. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. The writing, however, was really good. The way it was written was very good. It just, I don't know, it just wasn't my cup of tea, but I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books are also graphic novels. The first one is Marbles, Mania, Depression, Michelangelo, and Me, a graphic memoir by Ellen Fornery. Now this is a memoir, but it is not a typical graphic novel, so you do get some panes, but then some of the pages are just like full-blown pictures, like this, and I just really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4.5 stars out of 5. This pretty much just tells her journey through her bipolar disorder and all the what she's going through, like mentally, and her trying to find the right medicines, and it was really good. I really enjoyed this. The last book that I read this month was American Born Chinese by Jin Lin Yang, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is 3 different stories, if I remember correctly, that actually end up combining into one, like how they're all connected, which actually I did not know that when I started reading it, so that was a nice surprise. But it all follows around one boy named Jin Wang and his urge to fit in the American society, even though he is Chinese, and yes, it was very good. So that is all I read for the month of January. Not too bad, but I know I could have done better. Alright, for my TBR for the month of February, I am actually not going to list all of the books I am reading because I plan on doing hashtag 28 books, 28 days, which is where I read 28 books in 28 days. I plan to read pretty much the equivalent of a book a day in February. Now, if I don't get all 28 books, I am not going to be disappointed in myself. That is a lot of books, and I have 2 kids and a husband, and I work a full-time job, so, you know, that's a lot of reading to do. So if I don't get all of it, I'm not going to be disappointed, but I would like to get a good chunk. My rabbit is chewing on my books. But yeah, so that is my goal for February, is to read a book a day, and pretty much what I want to do is catch up on the review books that I had for January, all my review books for February, and possibly get into review books that are due in March. Now, some of these review books I actually have are like the second book in a series, so I will actually be reading books off of my TBR shelf for those, you know, the first in the book. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I have not read anything today, so we'll see if that happens. But as a little side challenge for myself, because I did awful on the blog this month, I was in like a total blogging slump, I really want to do a review a day also, so a whole month of reviews. I actually have about 5 reviews that I need to post this week, so I'll kind of be ahead of myself, so it won't be quite as much pressure, but that is the goal, is to do 28 books in 28 days and 28 reviews in 28 days. So we'll see if this works out. If you would like to participate, you know, with the 28 books, with me, just let me know in the comments. That would be really awesome. We can kind of encourage each other. I did create a little hashtag that we can use, the hashtag 28 books 28 days on Twitter if you want to do that. But yeah, so wish me luck on my adventure this month, and I hope you guys all have a great reading month. Let me know in the comments what you're reading this month, or what you read last month, what you thought of the books that I read last month, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!